I've been watching The Rock. I'm gonna get more in depth about talking about The Rock. I've been watching him. I've been watching him a lot. Just I've been watching him. Let me tell you, back any wrestling fans here? I'm not a huge wrestling fan. My brothers, I was a wrestling fan from like the old school wrestling, like Razor Ramon and Mr. Perfect. Believe it or not, Mr. Perfect was one of my favorite. Jake the Snake. That's where I was a big fan. So I was a big wrestling fan. Then I fell off on it. I just didn't watch it much. But my brothers, a little bit younger, they still hung on to it. And then I remember they were like, this is way back in the day. I don't even know what year this is. Way back in the day, they're like, you might want to get back into wrestling. I'm like, what? I haven't watched wrestling in a while. Y'all can watch it. I haven't watched it in a minute. They're like, there's this guy. He's named The Rock. And he is the best of all time as far as a performer. He's hilarious. And The Rock was awesome. And that whole time The Rock was in the what was it? It was a WWE. I know it as the WWF, but whatever. While he was there, he was the man. He was not the champ. I don't think he ever got the belt, did he? Maybe for a hot second. He was always the people's champ. And I'm going to translate that to here. And I think right now I have to call him a phony. I think he's a fake. I think he's faking. So I don't know for sure, but Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was a part of a few celebrities, which it's still a risk. Joe Rogan is very anti-establishment right now. Not just him, but the establishment hates him. Yes, Tozy Two Shoes is going to go right where I'm going. But so that's, you see, so he's a Democratic establishment shill, period. I haven't seen him make a transformation. Maybe he's transformed, but I haven't seen it. Right now, he's supporting Joe Rogan. That raised my eyebrow. Does that? But here's my thing. People in the chat are saying, "Hey, Rock's the shill." Dusty Rhodes, old school wrestler. So people are in the chat saying the Rock's a shill. Okay, so how do you? If you're really a shill, you wouldn't support Joe Rogan, though, would you? So that's what caused me to say, what's happening here with The Rock? What's Dwayne Johnson doing? What's The Rock cooking? And I think he's a phony. That's where I'm going with this. I think he's a phony. And I don't trust. Let me say this more. I don't trust him. The Rock is going to have to explain to me what his path was. If he wants me to trust him, he's going to have to explain how he got to this point. And I haven't done all the reading. Maybe he has. I'm not sure. But let me go ahead and play a little clip here where The Rock's talking about stuff in the 2020 election.
Happy Sunday, everybody. We are approximately 5 weeks away from Election Day, arguably the most critical election our country has seen in decades. Now, that said, I'm going to be pushing this political conversation just a little bit more. Now, look, I've got friends in all parties, but the one thing that we can always agree on is the conversation and the dialogue and where that conversation lands.
This dude doesn't even look like a real human being. Before we listen to what he has to say, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. I don't want to use that term. The dude's cut like that dude, it doesn't even look real.
Is always the most critical part. Now, this is something that I've certainly not done in the past, so I'm gonna go big. You guys know me. If I go big. So, guys, I had the opportunity to sit down with Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Kamala Harris to talk about a number of important issues that we're facing as a country. I thought it was a great and extremely productive conversation that we had. And as a registered independent for years now with centrist ideologies, I do feel that Vice President Biden and Senator Harris are the best choice to lead our country, and I am endorsing them to become president and vice president of our United States.
Okay, bro. So that's fine. I played Gali, who is very well respected in the Tesla community. I played him yesterday talking about how he voted for Biden. And he said in that video, just because I voted for you doesn't mean I'm not going to challenge you. So maybe I missed it. I haven't followed everything, but I'm going to need to hear that now. You went out, you endorsed um, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They have turned out to be a mess, a disaster, the worst combination, the worst president, and the worst VP independently and as a combination we have ever seen in this country, potentially, I think, at least definitely of my lifetime. I need to hear from you now. Anyone, if you supported them and you're going to come out now and say, well, oh yeah, you got, oh, Joe Rogan, I support his, right? Or however you say it. I need you to reconcile. You're going to have to reconcile a lot for me. You can't just do that. You can't just say, oh, I supported them, but you don't come back and say, how do I show where I am at this moment? So, for example, I always talk about it. People on the channel always make fun of me about it, and you should. That I used to support AOC, and I still want to support I still want to explain my journey at some point. I'm not in the mood to do it now. It's really hard. I got to think about it, but I've switched. And I've made my case for where I am now. Now, I actually have made my case about, I've gone after AOC a lot on the channel, so I guess that makes my case. But my point is, you've got to be able to show me how you got there. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, how did you get to the point? How did you get to the moment where you are now, where all of a sudden, now you are supporting Joe Rogan? And how does that reconcile? We heard Saki earlier today go after Joe Rogan. How do you reconcile that? That you can't have it both ways. I'm going to end with this. Barry Weiss is another example of this. She's obviously not running for president or anything like that. I've posted moments where I agree with Barry Weiss. And what I want from her is the same thing I want from The Rock. Before I can fully endorse you or rock with you or roll with you, I need to know. I tweeted earlier today, since Barry Weiss took the low dose red pill, she didn't take the whole thing, we agree on some things. And I support her, and I will support her on those things we agree. However, she hasn't reconciled and explained her path. How did she get to this point? She's still supporting the establishment Dems. Why? No one's going to trust her until she humbles herself. It's going to take some humility. Let me know what you think.